I just like to help people because, some people have got no one. Some people have got no hope. Some people have just got absolutely nothing. And I don't think it's fair that we can just shrug our shoulders and not help the world. And we're absolute monsters. Human beings are monsters at times, because the world would be a better place if we just stopped for a bit and just went, these are other people. These are the same people. We're all the same breed. We're all the same. We might have different skin or whatever it is we have, but I just think it'd be better if we just stopped and thought, hang on a minute, these are people,
All right, good morning, good day, good evening. This is Conor and Kallum with the Unplugged number 44 with, world-renowned martial arts expert and elite level coach in the UK, Vinny Shoreman. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me, fellas.
You bet.
Vinny, it's great to have you here. Vinny is the mind coach behind Champions. Today on Unplugged, we have an incredible guest, a man who has transformed the mental game of some of the toughest fighters on the planet. Vinny Shoreman is a world-renowned mind coach, hypnotherapist, and NLP practitioner, specializing in helping athletes, entrepreneurs, and high performers unlock their potential. With a background in Muay Thai coaching and commentary, Vinny understands the fight game inside and out, not just the physical battles, but the mental ones that make or break a champion. His expertise has sought after by some of the biggest names in the combat sports, including former UFC champions Eddie Alvarez and Cody Garbrandt, as well as 8-time Muay Thai world champion Liam Harrison. He's worked behind the scenes with elite level fighters using the deep knowledge of neurolinguistic programming, hypnotherapy, and mental conditioning techniques to help them break through the mental barriers, recover from setbacks, and step into the cage with bulletproof confidence. Beyond the fight world, Vinny's work extends to coaching high performers in business and life, helping them rewire their mindset for success. His unique approach blends cutting-edge psychology with no-nonsense attitude, getting results where others fail. Today, we're diving into the mental game of champions, the power of mindset in high-pressure situations, and how Vinny helps elite athletes push beyond limits most of us will never experience. Thanks for being here, Vinny.
Thank you very much indeed. Just a side note, Cody Garbrandt I didn't really work with. I did have contact with him, but it didn't go to anywhere.
Okay.
I did though. I just throw another name in. I had a former undisputed light welterweight champion of the world, Josh Taylor, helped him as well. The Tarford Tornado, who's fighting soon in May. So shout out to Josh. He's a great guy, and he's one of the only 5 people ever to get an undisputed title. So we can speak over with him.
Those ones, yeah.
One of the most interesting things for me, like we're from the training game, right? So we put on big events, we teach large groups of people, and all of this hard work that you put into that boils down into like a fraction of a second, whether or not you're able to captivate people on stage, whether or not you're able to get their attention in the first couple of seconds. And that can absolutely just like change the results that you get for the entire event. And I see the UFC, I see MMA, I see Muay Thai and fighting those bouts in some ways similar, because all of that hard work that they put in for years and years and years boils down to like, fraction of a second when they walk into that cage. So can you talk to that mindset of when they're walking in and how important it is they go in there with that psychology ready, like to fire straight away, because it can be the total difference that changes their outcome for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, the main thing is to get the learning state, as you're fully aware of Hakalau and stuff like that, is to get them in a state where they are not overstimulated, but not understimulated, just trying to get a balance, to try and get them in a way where they are not like pulling themselves apart or overstimulating themselves. So for instance, if they're not criticizing themselves about being fearful, etc., but also not being overstimulated, thinking this is going to be easy and stuff like that. It's focusing on the outcome beyond the fight itself. I think if you focus on the fight itself, I think that can become a real hazardous thing, because if you put a narrative in somebody's mindset where this shot is working all the time, for instance, and they miss with it, then all of a sudden it becomes an argument with yourself. And it's hard enough fighting somebody else and you and the crowd and trying to listen to what your corner's saying, whatever. So what I try and do is try and get them to just be as open-minded as they can be and just to be fully aware of being in the moment, you know?
Is that something that someone can naturally do themselves, or is it have all fighters always had that coach, I guess, who's been able to bring them back on track?
Some can and some can't. I mean, you know, and some are good at it and so others aren't, you know. I was rubbish at football. I was and was brought up in a country of soccer, as people call it. I was brought up around it, or my family liked it. I had a ball, but could I kick it in a straight line? Never. So some people have got more a penchant for it than others. Some people have a better skill set to be able to have the capacity to learn.
Yeah.
And it depends on what they want to take on. It's all down to your passion of how far you want to go and how much you really want it and how much that you're willing to take on and putting the time in. It's everything's effort, isn't it? So yeah, some can, some don't need it. Some don't. Some have a natural ability to a flair to do so. It's just one of those phenomenons that we'll never understand, but you can learn it. I certainly had to learn it.
I was going to ask about that yourself. Was that a learned behavior for you?
Yeah, and look, as much as the nice intros you gave me, and I really appreciate those, I'm far from where I want to be.
Yeah.
I don't believe I'm better than anyone. I don't believe I'm the best. I've had people say to me, like, you know, if you get it saying, oh, you're the number one, this, blah, blah. I'm not. I don't ever believe or what I'm going to be or want to be. I want to continue to be better. I want to continue to be a person, a better man, a better husband, a better friend, a better human being. So I don't believe that I'm anywhere where I want to be, but I'm constantly, as I said just before we started, I'm constantly trying to get better because I want to be a better service to the world. Because I think in our work, especially when we're working with people and helping people get better, I think that's our calling really. And it sounds a little bit deep, but that's the way I look at it.
A lot of our community and audience are in the same boat, have the same level of belief. When did that happen for you? Because you, whereabouts in the UK are you originally from?
I'm from Manchester.
Manchester, and you grew up there and you found your craft and became very good at it. And then you started to coach other fighters. At what point, well, maybe you started to upskill yourself in the coaching world before you started to coach other fighters. At what point did the transition, trajectory change from being in the ring to being out of the ring and then almost being not even in the building anymore?
I never liked fighting.
Okay.
I never liked it. No. Physically, technically, I could do it. But as a young man, you see a lot of fighters, I didn't do Muay Thai and boxing because I wanted to compete. I wanted to be able to beat the bad guy up. It always had this sort of different sort of archetype for me. I wanted to be able to beat people up that were going to beat me up, or beat people up that was going to beat the lesser people up. I think it's almost like a knight in shining armor, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I did it for all the wrong reasons when I'm looking back now. I think so. I did it for all the wrong reasons. I wanted to be tough and under it. I lied to my own person, who I really am. And it became a quite an internal struggle. It was interesting. But now I've kind of gone through that and just know that really I'm quite a very camp man, really, to be honest. And more into like being happy that stroking dogs than watching people get punched and kicked in the face.
No, that's
wrong.
Fair enough. And with what you're currently doing now, can you share with our audience sort of what type of work, what type of coaching you're doing, and what learnings you brought into your solution? You have the Shaman Solution that you use with your clients.
Yeah.
Could you unpack a little bit how that came about?
Yeah, the Shaman Solution. So when I was on the last time, I think it was the third time we went on Rogan, Joe Rogan with Liam. And Liam was bringing out his training program. As if people don't know, Liam's a very famous Muay Thai fighter and an extremely talented human being, and a tremendous fighter and a tremendous person. And I brought the Shaman Solution out, which is a series of videos because you can't work with everyone. And some of the techniques from what I learned in NLP and other places, and our friend Conor knows. And and just learning various bits of technique. There's hypnosis on there. There's metaphors, there's understandings, there's reframing, just for people to get their heads around, changing their lives. And also they can peruse it at home, so it's easy for them. They can do it whenever they want. It's like a bit like having your own therapist in your living room.
Could
So
you?
you've blended a few of the different modalities together, but you've also, I guess, taken into consideration a lot of the experience that you've had over the years. And I think when we use any framework, any methodology, and we use it for long enough, we start to see, I guess, our own way of looking at it through the lens that we have.
Yeah.
What insights do you think that you've kind of uniquely come up with and has shaped the way that you do this in the new way? You've mentioned a few of them there that you feel like, you can't work with everyone. You'd like to make them simple enough so that people can use them in the comfort of their own home by themselves. Are there other unique insights that you've gathered over that time?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's life's hard for some people, and to see, like people associate me with just working with fighters, and I do, but I work with everyone. I've been privileged enough to work with film stars, actors, sports people, footballing people. John Schaffner, who went to space with Elon Musk. I've worked with a whole sort of myriad of different people, and I just think it's the most important thing is one of the sayings that I love is to be interested instead of interesting. I think a lot of therapists like to have the idea that we're up on this higher level. We understand more, etc. And you can learn so much from your clients and listening to their stories. And it's the stories that I just astounded by some of the things I've heard, some of the things that are so heinous, and think, how can human beings do that to each other? Yeah. For me, the passion is, the way I see it is like, I just like the stories, and I like to listen to the stories, and where the stories don't match and you fill in the blank, so to speak. And it's a bit like a puzzle, sort of like a game. And if you can, and then the clients don't understand how they're thinking, you can, but also join the dots for them. And sometimes you join the dots for them and they still don't see it. And it's like, but it's right in front of you. And to guide them to get to that, I absolutely love it. And I've had some strange experiences that I've never spoke to anyone about before on a podcast, is where you get insights that I can't explain. They're like psychic, but if I can almost say that. I don't like saying it. Yeah, I don't like saying it because it's like I want people to turn away from thinking, I'll get the crystal ball out and stuff like that, because I don't. But I have had phenomenon where I can explain it. For instance, I was talking to a client and I got this when I was talking to the client, for some unconsciously, so in your mind you can see it, but you can't see it physically, but you can see it in your mind. It's very hard to explain. But there was a big horse behind him. There was a dry stone wall, which is something that we have in England and in Ireland and little bits of Europe, but there's like a dry stone wall. So basically they put stone together and they just put it together without cement, and they just build walls. And there's a dry stone wall, and there was a man lying on the floor and he was covered in blood. So I said to the client, why don't you buy because the client was well off. I said, why don't you buy a horse? And he said, oh, my dad had a horse. I said, all right. I said, what sort of horse? And the Shire horse, obviously, a great big horse. He said, I don't know. He had a horse. It was in Ireland. I said, did it kick anyone? He said, I don't know. Didn't know. Never seen it. I said, just give it kick anybody. And he said, I don't know. Anyway, he rang his auntie. He said to his auntie, did your dad have a horse? He said, yeah, because his dad was seriously at the time in hospital. He said, did he have a horse? And he said, he said, yeah, he did have a horse. He said, did it kick anyone? She went, yeah, it kicked your uncle. And I said, yeah, it kicks him over a wall. So I was like, and then he said, what? I said, did he die? He said, no. Was he injured bad? She said, no. Anyway, so he's talking to his auntie, and his auntie said that his uncle came to emigrate and live in Manchester, where I live. And one day the police called the auntie and said, we found your brother and he'd been kicked to death. He'd been beaten up and kicked to death. So there's things like that. There's so many things that I've said in people's names, and I can't explain why. But since having less angst within me, having less venom and less, what's the word?
Yeah.
Because as you know, Falley's level 3. So like when you're involved in fighting, I had that sort of quick-tempered way of being. Since not being in that sort of circle for myself, these episodes are getting more and more prominent. And it's not me making it up. I'm not like a crystal loving.
You're talking to the right crowd. A lot of,
thank you.
A lot of our listeners and even ourselves, we have done a deep dive into different esoteric mysticisms, and we even utilize those techniques and that thinking inside of our business. So those subtle energies that you're talking about is definitely a big part of what we bring into our programs, because we think that, like you mentioned at the start, the hakalau, which is the flow state or the learning state, when you can tune into those subtle energies, you can start to pick up on this information that's always there, but it's hidden in plain sight for people. And
fantastic.
And a lot of it, Vinny, I'm not sure if you would agree, but it comes with the ability to trust yourself. Because if you didn't trust yourself, you wouldn't have had that conversation with that gentleman. You wouldn't have dug a little bit and found a little bit. And I think that I'm starting to understand now why there's been such a transition in your life, because that ability and that those subtle energies that you're picking up on, that's allowing you to help people is a gift. And it does only come when you can quieten the mind and you can quieten the body and you can get aligned with your higher self. I call it the higher self. So
thank you. Thank you. Because it's quite hard to reveal. Because I went to see a psychic and I just thought I'll go and see, because I had a bit of trouble last year that I couldn't solve. I did cause it to do being drunk, basically, and made a fool of myself. Wasn't the worst thing in the world. Probably some people laughed it off and jumped shoulders, but me, I always have in, higher regard. Anyway, so I went to see this psychic. When I went, I felt like I had loads of people with me. I don't even know how to explain it. Felt like I was walking in with a crew behind me. And when I sat down, the lady said to me, "Oh, you've brought a lot with you," straight away. And then she said, "You're one of us. You can do what we do." And I was like, right. And I'm sure she says it to everyone. And she said, "Why did you stop it?" And I did actually stop it because I didn't want to lie to the client. And I didn't want to give the client something that I'm impinging on their...
Like you're planting an idea or...
Yeah, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be as honest as I possibly could and be as straight as I possibly could. And you know that people are in a vulnerable state when it comes to you anyway.
Yeah.
So, but I've had some weird things. A lady, the son had died. He died within a week. He did a brain tumor, and then all of a sudden, God took him in. When she was talking to me, there was a boy died, and there was a bulldog. Just seen a bulldog, and I was like, okay. And I said, "Did you have a dog?" And she went, yeah. She said, "Oh, that was strange." I said, "Why is that?" She said, "Oh, well," he said, she came home, and then within 3 days after the funeral, the dog just lay down and died. And she says, "I'm sure he come and took it." And I said, "What type of dog was it?" She went, "A bulldog." I couldn't have made it up.
Yeah.
It's not me wishful thinking and being egotistical to say that I'm, when you say it's a gift and stuff like that, I find that a bit, I I think we could all do it. I think, but because we've done so much with our mindsets and trying to improve what we've got between our ears, I think then that would set us up to do that. But I believe everyone can do it.
Yeah, I believe everyone can do it as well.
Yeah, and it's just a beautiful thing to be able to do. People's names, all sorts.
The metaphor that I often give is remember in the 90s you had those like 3D printed images, and if you squinted your eyes and blurred in and out, you could see a shape of a bicycle or a dinosaur or something like that.
Starting to see how much battery I've got.
That's very much how it is. If you train,
fantastic.
When you see one of those books where it says like the Magic Eye or the Magic Eye book, that's right.
That's right. Yeah.
Those pages, all you see are blurred lines. But then someone says, "Oh, hold it out in front of you, squint your eyes," and then all of a sudden, you see what is between the lines. But you have to be told that it's there first, otherwise you're not going to see it. You wouldn't.
Well, I couldn't see
know
him.
what to do to see that.
I could never see him. I could never see him because I think because I was brought up in turmoil anyway. I was brought up in a household that was a lot of alcohol fueled violence, and a lot of I was asthmatic as a child, etc., and stuff like that, and brought up in a combative world. I think once you've seen red, you only see red. So I could never see any different colour than that. And now I've sort of moved away from that. And don't get me wrong, I'm blessed to be able to be all over the world with it. I no longer commentate because I just couldn't pretend to enjoy seeing someone's face get obliterated for a raising of a hand. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just not me anymore.
Yeah, it does. It does make sense, and it does sound like there has been a huge values transition for you, and it sounds like it's been quite an amazing one and transformational one because, and probably, you know, now that I think about it, you said that you never really enjoyed fighting, you never really liked watching it, but you know, maybe it's just also part of you becoming more your true self in a way. And bringing that thinking into what you're doing now. And I think, you know, having all that experience that you had with those guys in the most extreme of cases really probably set you on a trajectory to be able to help so many more people because of that as well. And also the you know, the coverage that you got by being on Joe Rogan is giving you that platform to be able to help more people. So that's quite commendable, quite cool.
Thank you. I live a blessed life, and not one bit of me doesn't believe so. I mean, I was coming back from High Rocks tonight in a supper because it was horrendous. But I was driving and I just was saying in my mind, it was sunny. I'm driving a nice car. I live in a nice house, and I was just thinking, I just saying thank you in my mind because I'm such a blessed human being. It's almost like pinch yourself moments from where I've come from.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that I want to be able to be a better service to the world. It sounds, I don't care what it sounds like, to be fair. I mean, it's just who I am.
Yeah.
I have a singing coach called Andrea, and I'm going to go and sing in June on a concert. She wants me to go and sing with him. I'm going to do it because I just think, you know what, why not? And she,
opera?
She
Is
said
it
to
opera
me,
singing or what sort of singing?
No, it's not opera singing. She's just a singing coach. So, you know, I've always liked singing. I don't profess to be good at it. I profess to be brilliant at anything, really. But she asked me to do it, and I thought, you know what? Why not? And I just thought I'd go out my comfort zone, put myself in a difficult position. But it's like she said to me when she was talking, I said, "Oh, I'm not commentating anymore about fighting." And she said, "You was never a fighter." She even said it herself. She didn't know me like that. And she said, "You're never a fighter. You're an artist," which it's made me happy. Because years ago, if someone said you're not a fighter, I would have gone, "You are. You what do you mean? I'm not. Blah blah blah. Here's me hitting pads, or here's me." And really, I'm not. But, you know, I like hitting pads. I like training, like hitting bags. Well, I'd rather not hit anyone. It's just no.
You know, there's something about, so irrespective of where you came from, you've made it what was it that kept you going? What was the drive? Because I have this theory that I haven't sort of, so those thoughts that you have in your head, that the people who are successful, you throw them in any environment in life and they'll find a way to be successful. So irrespective that you came from Manchester through the fighting, you could have come from a completely different environment and it could have been horse riding instead of fighting. And you would have been a top in horse riding. And then you would have continued on from there. What was it within you that kept you going and didn't tap out at the hardest point when so many others have? What was it about? I talk a lot about resilience and grit. Resilience is your ability to get back up when it's being knocked down, and grit, your ability to hang in there for long periods of time because you're so plugged into a goal or an outcome that you want to achieve. What was it for you that kept you going? Because I'm sure there would have been so many times where you would have been in the locker room by yourself going, what the F am I doing here? Or what am I doing this for? What was it that kept you going?
With me, it was, I was very ill as a child. I had asthma. I died twice. And I was constantly fighting for breath. You didn't have salbutamol or Benson, them sprays. Back then it was ephedrine. So the drug of choice was giving a hyperactive ADHD kid ephedrine. A good idea. And I was fighting for breath. My mum was a beaten lady. My dad was a raging alcoholic. And my mum had this toughness. You know, she was only 5'4", 5'3". She had this toughness, this never say die attitude. She had faith in God. And she was just an amazing person. And I think, for me, I get it from my mum. I get it. And my mum showed me a hell of a lot of love. My mum was very loving. She could be very cutting and very sharp, but my mum had this huge amount of love within her. And I was always the kid that wanted, if anyone ever was upset, it upset me. I was an empathetic child.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it was just in me. I don't know. I don't profess to be resilient. I don't profess to be tough. I just have this, I don't know, I have this love for, I just like to help. I don't know why. I've always been that way. I don't know what happened. If I could put one finger on it and say, oh, it's just this, it's not. I just like to help people. And because, you know, some people have got no one. Some people have got no hope. Some people have just got absolutely nothing. And I don't think it's fair that we can just shrug our shoulders and not help the world. And we're absolute monsters. Human beings are monsters at times, because the world would be a better place if we just stopped for a bit and just went, these are other people. These are the same people. We're all the same breed. We're all the same. We might have different skin or whatever it is we have, but, you know, I just think it'd be better if we just stopped and thought, hang on a minute, these are people, you know? I don't know, I've always had that empathetic nature. Yeah. It's got me in trouble. It's got me in trouble. It's, you know, I've picked people up off the floor that have been absolutely desolate. It happened recently. Someone who I picked up off the floor, and I mean literally, emotionally and all that sort of stuff, and they stabbed me in the back with the other hand. Mm-hmm. But that's a particular person, would I have again? Probably.
Yeah.
Because
I think I understand how you feel, but you wouldn't change anyway. That's just one of the
you can't change you.
You can't change.
It can't change.
You would probably still help that person because you couldn't not.
No, I mean, and you seem to get more, and I'm not after love and respect, because I'm not, because I get it. I get that anyway, because you give it out. But for me, it's like, sometimes it's the people that you don't think, not anything of, but you don't really think you've done anything, that you've changed hugely. Yeah. Even just a showing of kindness and that, you know, and gratitude. You both understand that you help people out without people knowing. Yeah. You must do. 100%. I can tell already just by this little bit of conversation, and this is a beautiful podcast for me to be who I actually am on it for the first time, you know? Because most of the time, I talk about fighting and he knocked him out and blah, blah, blah. And I'm sick of that. I'm sick of it. But to be able to convey it.
Hi there, this is Conor and Kallum from Connect Coaching. Hope you are enjoying the Unplugged podcast. Nothing lights us up more than seeing businesses thrive, especially in uncertain times. We have 32 combined years of doing nothing but mentoring and training businesses from around the globe in order to increase their revenue and thrive in uncertain times. So what we would like to do is share with you a little bit about what we've discovered over the last 32 years.
We've created this amazing business model called the Forever Business Model, and we want to give it to you for free. All you need to do is jump down into the description below. There's a link there called Steal Our Forever Business Model. Click on the link. There's a 9-minute video that you can watch where we unpack everything you need to know to implement it in your business right away.
To people that understand where I get texts in the middle of the night and people, can you call me? And I've said to my wife, going downstairs to talk to someone in another country who's desolate. You can't stop the job. We get paid for it. I get paid well for it. But I'm not going to, once a client, always a client. And the person needs you, you can help them anyway.
I think if you're in this field for the money, you won't last because it will just rub you the wrong way and you won't have the patience for it. You won't have the empathy for it. If you do something and you don't enjoy it, you'll end up resenting it and then you don't last. If you do with this, even though what you just said, taking a call in the middle of the night, it's a minor nuisance, maybe the wrong word, but it's a minor discomfort in the moment of time. But you wouldn't have it any other way because this is what you do.
Exactly.
It's funny because that's how this podcast was born. We used to run you were at those trainings, not with us, but with other people, Vinny, so you know what they're like. We used to have really large ones. It'd be up to 100 students, then there'd be another 30, 40 coaching assistants, and then there'd be another 15 to 20 staff as well. And, we used to put our hearts and souls into that all year long to make those events successful. And you would literally have to be picking people up off the floor all the way through, maybe not in quite the same situation that you talked about, but one lady in particular that I'm thinking of right now, she was from Malaysia. Her husband walked down on her. He kind of filled the son's head with a lot of stuff and took him away. And there was this whole battle going on with her and her life. And, the only real thing that she had that was rock solid in her life was the preparation for this training. And a couple of times she went to pull out from that. And, she, one of the things that she said that I don't even remember saying, by the way, is that you just need to put one foot in front of the other and keep walking forward, one foot in front of the other. And that one thing had the most profound effect on her. And she ended up coming to the training. She was incredibly successful at that. And she's gone on to do some world-changing things over in Southeast Asia. Well, we used to get to the end of that training and we were so exhausted that we would have these, the last night after we'd celebrated everyone leaving, we'd hang back and everybody would sit down around with each other and have these unplugged conversations. And the stories that would be shared at that were some of the most profound and powerful stories ever, because there was past students that would come back and tell their stories about when they were students and the journey that they'd been on and how it transformed their life. So that became our fuel. That became Conor and my fuel. And like Conor said before, there's no way in the world we would have done that just for the money, because
it's more than money.
No.
Yeah.
It wouldn't get you past the first couple of months, and it didn't for a number of people. So that was our fuel. That seeing those changes in those people's lives, seeing how their lives had improved, seeing how they now believed, we instilled so much belief in them that they now had taken on and started to believe in themselves. And as a result, that was rippling out to their family, to their kids, to their, businesses and so on. And I think that is what drives us. And it sounds like you're exactly the same.
Yeah. It's the butterfly effect, isn't it? And it's like, it's just being able to look, you'll help people get past a problem. There's always going to be another, and then none of us walk on water, do we? But, even if it makes them, sets them on the journey to go learn something or find a faith or find a passion or find a different way of being or realize that life is a series of lessons and stuff. I think that, if you're doing that job, it's incredible. And it's like you understand when you hear some of the things that people go through, you looked at them as one client walked in, he got the train to where I am. So it took him like 3 hours to get this train, various trains, only a young lad. He walked into my office and he said, I don't feel a man. I said, why? And he said, oh, because my dad raped me, my mum and my sister. And I was just like, even saying it now almost makes me well up. But I just looked at him and I went, how can you say you're not a man when you've got the bravery to walk and say that without turning to narcotics, without blaming the world and cursing the world for it? And I was just, some people's resilience just absolutely blows me away. And some clients, you almost want to like praise them, like, you know, like this, because it's just like, how did you get through that?
Yeah.
You know, and there's so much heroics around us. We look to Instagram and look to sports stars and film stars and characters that don't exist, but right around us, there's stories where you go, you know, just absolutely incredible. What a blessed job I've got, you know, to listen to these people and go, wow, I'm getting paid to listen to a story that would be a bestseller, you know, and that's every day. You know what I mean? So yeah, I love it.
And this work sounds like it's, you know, you mentioned some of the things that have started to happen, some of the unexplained things, and it sounds also like you've started to explore different esoteric studies to maybe help explain those or help amplify those. Can you speak about that journey a little bit with us? Because a lot of our audience is on a similar journey with.
Okay.
We've got a training coming up in Sydney next week. We've got a gentleman coming out from the UK, actually, David Shepherd. He's coming out to teach a couple of trainings around not just ancient Hawaiian Huna, but the Western mysticisms as well. So, yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I've been studying the Rosicrucian order, and I'm certainly no expert, but the things that they write in their monographs, they resonate with me. I've been meditating as well, which has changed my life exponentially. And the manifestation belief system that they have makes more sense than anything else. You know, I've been listening to, I don't know if you're aware of Dr. David Spangler, and his manifestation talking about, and it rings true. It'll ring true with you too, me and all your listeners, if they're in that type of mindset. It's got to be about more than you. If it's just about this thing, I mean, it's like, even in ancient times, there is metaphors and understandings that if it's just for you and it's selfishness, you're never really going to get it. It's been explained that all through time. With when it's about more than just you. Look, if I became very wealthy, you know, and you'll benefit because I couldn't keep it. I wouldn't go, oh yeah, and look at, what for? I'm still a 5'7" grey-haired 55-year-old Mancunian. A suit's not going to make, an Armani suit's not going to make me any different. Yeah. But I know that money's a superpower. So when I was talking to the guy that went into space with Elon Musk, he's done everything. And he's a very wealthy individual and a lovely individual. And I got a lot of love for him and his wife, Janine. And now he's got a charity. Now he started a charity after doing talks with him because he's done everything in his life and stuff like that. Into space, childhood dream and stuff like this, pilot and everything. And then we were talking about if he had a charity, how much more he could help people. And now he's set up a charity to help fund the next level of scientists, doctors and nurses and etc. and helps them with their scholarships and stuff. You know, that's how it should be. That's how it should be, not look at me. I mean, I get you want nice things. I want nice things, but I want to be able to go, if someone's upset because they can't, oh, this is happening, I need this, I'll help them. That's the way I see it. I'd rather be successful for everyone than just be successful for me. I've had my name shouted out on all the 26,000 people in Amsterdam Arena in 89 countries live. I've been to everywhere except South America. I've been all over the world commentating in all the biggest places. All the top fighters who I ever wanted to be around and still around and who I love dearly, all of them. They said my name. They know my name, the first name, James. I did that. I've got that. And that was great. And I'm happy about that. But what's more enjoyable is being able to have the facilities to facilitate people's change. I think that's better than anything. Anything. You don't need rounds of applause, for sure.
I love that connection you make between manifesting and manifesting for something that's greater than just yourself. Because
Yeah.
it's
You'll have to excuse me. I have to go over and charge this.
Yeah,
no.
It's it sounds like that's one of the premises that makes the difference. You know, so
Is it aligned with gratitude? Is this sort of?
Yeah, like I said before. I mean, I was driving out to my house, just driving round to my estate where I live, and I was just like, "That's it, Mercedes." It's not brand new or anything. I was like, and it's sunny, and I'm gonna go and see my dog, and I've got a sauna. I mean, come on now.
Got a sauna.
It's like, wait, I've got my own sauna, and I'm like, how did I get that? You know? And you know, and working with, I've just got to give a shout out to the Ballin Studios. It's called Mr. Ballin. He does stories of macabre and mystery and murder and all that sort of scary stuff. And they have treated me, him, Nick Witters, Giacomo, the rest of their talents, the whole Ballin Studio have treated me they've treated me so well. They've put me in a position to be able to get my house. And Connor, you know very well. I don't know if you know Colin.
Yeah, we had Colin on the podcast last year.
He was one of
Colin, I can't thank Colin enough for putting me. Colin's seen me change exponentially, and I love Colin dearly.
I'll be seeing him in a few weeks. I'm actually off to Nottingham at the beginning.
He's
going to come down and visit.
Okay. I'm going to one of his trainings in May. He's doing another training. So, you know, Colin's always got new stuff for me to learn.
He does, yeah.
So, yeah, I love Colin. But, you know, the Ballin Studios, they treat me so well. They give me an opportunity to change my life and stuff like that. And how can I not be, you know, waking up every day and pinching myself? Because where I'm from to where I've got and to where I'm going, I want other people to experience it. And that's my aim, is to do as well as I possibly can to help as many people as I can. And that's the facts.
Yeah.
Do you think it was a necessary part of your development to let the fighting go? And like you said, that seeing red, that energy that you would bring into your body to start to get into more of a flow with the universe or nature or God or whatever you want to call it?
The universe pushed me out of it.
Yeah.
The universe pushed me out of it 100%.
Yeah. Because
I kept saying, I don't want to do it anymore. And I kept saying it to people, and people kept saying, oh, we don't want to do it anymore. So, I got really drunk one night. Well, I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you the story. I've never told anyone this, at least outside my circle. When you do the job that we do, when you hear what people go through all the time and constantly, it takes its toll. So it got to a point where I'd had so much pretending to be someone else, going to shows, hugging people, shaking hands with people, wishing people good luck, expenditure of energy to keep the audience entertained, pushing all your energy out, walking around, shaking hands with people, as you know about ACCA and stuff like that. You share connection with people. And then with the job, it just took its toll to a point where I was on the way to London. I just didn't want to be myself. I didn't want to be me. I can't explain it. I've never been in that way ever. And I've done commentary for 25 years. I've done over 1,000 shows, over 15,000 fights live. At 15,000 fights I've commentated. Got to London, got extremely drunk, just didn't want to be there. It should have not gone, but shoulda, woulda, coulda. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. And upset people that I care for. Upset myself, didn't remember anything. Didn't remember what I was doing, couldn't remember the way I was conducting myself. And I put myself in a really dark place, such a dark place that I didn't want to be here, if I'm honest. And it's never felt that way. Never felt that way in my whole existence. And I vowed never to do it again. But I believe also that, okay, you could say he's just saying that as an excuse. There's no excuse in my part. I hold myself accountable. But I was pushed out of it and I think it's, although to my embarrassment, because it was embarrassing, I just feel that I think God pushed me to it. I think God, the universe, cosmic, whatever you want to call it, there's a higher force that pushed me out and said, this is not for you anymore.
Yeah.
You're not meant to do this now. But I would have stayed in it because I didn't know anything else. It's like when Colin, Colin, it was like wanted to stay in the printing industry because it's safe. As a commentator, everyone knew I was in the world. People wanted me on the shows. It was prestige. No, without being egotistical, to have me on it because I was the voice of, there was me, Michael Civello, Mitch Chelton, or whatever. And I could have stayed in it. I could have stayed in it all my life, really, and carried on. It just didn't feel right anymore. There was something where I was like getting squeamish watching people getting knocked out and hurt. I was like, I felt it too much. And I think it was my time. And I think the mistakes I made were, I'm still sorry for what I caused. However, for me on my journey, it's probably necessary for me to do that because I would have stayed in it otherwise.
I was going to say, this happens a lot, Vinny. I personally broke my leg to change trajectory with something I was hanging onto. I was hanging onto the rock and I had to break my leg, which forced me to completely unplug from the energy that I was plugged into. And then it gave me the courage to go, okay, disassociate and say, do I want to do this for another 20 years? And that was a catalyst to actually go out on my own. And then that was and to reconnect with Kallum and start Connect coaching coming up 2 years ago. So
nice.
So this is it was like the big bang. A lot of people in their lives, there's a bang that because they don't listen to themselves. They don't listen to their unconscious mind. They don't listen to their body. And then there's a bang and that forces them off the track. And they have to, and then they have to listen. It's like a slap in the face. Life slaps us in the face and it forces us to listen. And I really appreciate you sharing that story because I think it's a lot of people.
You know what? It's the only sorry to interrupt you then. Sorry. You know what it is? It's the only podcast where I did vow to come on here and be me.
Yeah. Good.
You know what I mean? Because I didn't want to be, when I went on Joe Rogan, I've been on Joe Rogan 4 times and the only person in Europe to go on it 4 times. I thought I'd mention that again. But, but it's like, it's not about like, for me, it's about, I just want to be straight, because it's a facade. You use it I used it as a barrier and as this and that. And now I'd rather be this person. I went to Thailand because I made a mess of things. I went to Thailand and I wasn't drinking and stuff. I was meditating and doing some of the Rosicrucian meditations. Julie Scott, Master Julie Scott, who I watch on YouTube. You can see it if you go on Rosicrucian. You can go on YouTube and see some of the meditations. And my resting pulse rate went down to 41. Now, if my parasympathetic nervous system is going down to 41, it's doing something right for me. It's a physical proof.
Yeah.
So, and people were saying, you're really calm. And how did you stop drinking? I said, well, I didn't want to be what I'd been. I'll never go back there again. I'll never drink alcohol ever again, ever. And I'm not against it for other people. If you want to do that's fine. Absolutely cool. No problem. Can you still go out? Of course I can, because just don't do it. But it's just like it took me to a dark place, so I had to change. But the one thing that I want to share, that I'm sure you, very intelligent gentlemen, know, the main thing is to pay attention, and people don't. Is to pay attention all the time. You are being shown. You are being shown all the time, but you have to pay attention, and people don't. They just like, they blunder. You're like, wait a minute. Listen to what's going on. Pay attention. Because there's all these gifts everywhere. There's miracles everywhere. There's messages. There's nudges. And I didn't pay attention. My numerous times I was drunk and didn't remember. I'd laugh it off. Other people would laugh it off. No, you was fine. You was funny, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually you don't pay attention. You don't pay attention. You get a knock on your front door and bang, the universe just punches you straight into you. So now you're listening. Got your attention now, yeah? So I think that's what happened to me. And yeah, but for the greater good, I think.
Yeah. How long ago was that, Vinny? When this whole
November.
Right.
November.
Yeah.
November. But it's like it put me on a different path, and
it's interesting because
it's been interesting.
I think Celia was talking to you even last year about coming on the podcast. It's been a long journey to be here. So it's just funny how the turn of events took place, that you've had these huge life events that have put you with where you are right now in a relatively short period of time. But that's obviously what had to happen before you came on the podcast in order to even have this sort of conversation.
Yeah.
Well, when you're in the environment with fighters and with younger people, I'm 55, the younger people and the younger fighters, and they've still got careers and all that. It's like you can't really communicate experience because they're not ready. So when values level 3, as you're aware, I judge values level 3. It's like, if you said, they just say, yeah, just smash his head in. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. What you're going to do? I'm going to smash trainings. I'm going to smash. I mean, they eat dinner and say, I'm going to smash this dinner. You're like, it doesn't really work. Smashing. It kind of don't work. But you understand what I'm saying? It's like, you can't convey. You also understand that it can be lonely in where you go.
100%.
Because you go, this will happen. And you're like, yeah, but I don't want, and it's sort of like being, whenever it's like singing a different song to everybody. So everyone's singing one song and you're just putting your hand up. Should we sing this one? And they're going, sing that one. You're like, I'll just sing along with you.
Yeah.
When really you know that, look, please, this will happen. This will happen. And don't be aware of this. And they'll go, I'm not bothered about it. And then it does. And then you're like, kind of saw it, but I didn't want, you can't. You know what I mean? You don't want to push your agenda, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can feel that.
Can 100% relate to that. I this was not the conversation that I was expecting to have with you, but it's 1,000 times better than I could have ever hoped, because we've gotten into an arena which Conor and I are very passionate about. Not just the helping people side of things, but also the connection with something bigger than ourselves, and being aligned with that is important. And I think that, if they're, and I don't want to build a pedestal for you, but if someone could be, a champion for this new lifestyle that you've developed, in this new direction that you've developed, there's going to be a lot of people that are looking at that going, oh, wow, like I can do that too. This doesn't have to just be my light. I can travel in the same direction Vinny did it as well. So, I think there's power in that also. Yeah,
I hope so. And like working with Mr. Borland and his team, and listen to him, how he's got ideas of philanthropy and how kind he is, but he was a Marine and he was in the Navy SEALs, and he had this, it's just like, there is people out there like us, and people talk about hardships. My friend is a doctor. He lives in Australia now, but he's from England. His name's Mo. I've done some work with him before. He was educated at Oxford. Very smart guy, Iranian descent, but born in England. And he's in Gaza, and he's seen children being blown to pieces. Really, none of us have got that. And that's the reality of things. And, if you're not grateful for where you are, and you can't help but wish that to be a better world for them. And I have some of his things on Instagram and seeing him, and I said to him, he's the bravest, most beautiful human being with the biggest heart. He's a massive guy, but he's got an even bigger heart. And I love him dearly, and to see what he goes through for no pay other than just earning this place in heaven, then whatever he gets in heaven, it should be as big as whatever anyone can muster, because to see what it goes through, it's horrendous. So I've got a lot of heroes in my life that are not the people that can punch and kick people. I still like that. I don't hate the sport or anything like that, but it's just like I've got a different eyes on a different price now,
Well, Vinny, mate, it's been it's getting late. It's 10 minutes past 11 p.m. for you.
No, it's not. It's 10 past 10.
10 past 10. Oh, okay. I thought it was-
It's fine.
Okay.
It's absolutely fine. It's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's been, sorry, I just dived in, and again, it's been so cathartic for me to be able to speak to you and tell you how I am now than what I was before, It's so much, a different way of being,
Well, we
That,
really appreciate your honesty
yeah,
and your
right.
openness and your transparency and authenticity, I guess, if you want to throw that in there as well. But just
Yeah.
Thank you.
be open and honest.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I find a lot of inspiration, Vinny, to be honest with you. I find there's things that
Thank you.
I've been battling the alcohol thing for the last couple of years. Do I stop? Do I go late? And I'll do 2 months, 3 months here, and then things start to really improve, and then it'll be birthday time, Christmas time, and start drinking again. But it's brought a lot of things to light for me, and I've drawn a lot of inspiration from the story that you've shared with us, and I'm sure a lot of
Thank
people
you.
listening has as well.
You have to stop. It's not, the universe will stop you. I'm telling you, whether it be illness or whether it be something that you do, it's going to stop you, mate, because you're already asking for it to stop you.
I am.
So you said, I'm not drunk for 2 or 3 months. That's a break. It's not a stopping.
Yeah.
When you say, and the level of respect you get when you say, I don't drink, is high. It's really high.
Yeah.
Not on the same level, but I did that for coffee about
I'm not doing that. I'm not that good. I'm not that brave.
Yeah.
Coffee was my
I've stopped drinking coffee too.
I was codependent on coffee. Whenever I had a slight dip of energy during the day, I was like, oh, I need a coffee.
Coffee.
And now it's just leveled me out completely.
Yeah.
That's me. That's my makeup, my chemical makeup, I guess, because coffee would have a massive thing. And since that was a big, I drank coffee and I was like a coffee connoisseur, and I fancied myself as holding a conversation in coffee talk, and it was a big.
But no one's woke up in prison, have they, when not remembered anything about drinking cappuccino? Let's be honest. No one's made a fool of themselves on commentary like I did on Americano, have they? So so if you're drinking coffee, it's crack
like
on.
I said, it's not the same level, but I wanted to be included in the conversation.
I wish I was like you two. I wish I was made a fool of myself in living this brilliant life instead.
Hey, Vinny, tell us about what you got coming up, because there'll be people listening that would like to jump in and learn from you. And I know you've got a workshop, but you're also coaching as well. I'm not sure how many availabilities you have, but can you give yourself a bit of a promo here for yourself?
Just what you see is what you get, really. I'm honest. I'll tell you the truth. I won't sugarcoat stuff, because I'm not Willy Wonka.
Right.
And I've got a breakthrough day on May the 10th, which is it's going to be learning about how to do real visualization, how to do it properly, how to train your mind to do visualization, which I'd never learned, but I've learned recently. Also to create a place where you can go meditate in meditation. So you can go to meditation and ask the unconscious mind what it needs to learn. So I'm like, I'm doing the scripture of my timeline therapy. And learning of which relates, let go of the emotions easier than effortlessly. Your unconscious mind can preserve the learnings of either if you shut on me there. Tell me what you're learning.
There you go.
So it's, we all know that off by heart, don't we?
Yeah.
So it's, there's that. And I'm also going to be going to Austin, Texas in July. I'm going to go singing in June. No one wants to come. In Cyprus. And these possibilities of going on 2 really big podcasts soon too.
Cool.
Awesome.
That's good.
I got
So
really
If someone wants to find you, they go to Vinny Shoreman Solution.
you go to the shamansolution.com.
The Shoreman.
SHOREMAN.
Yeah.
It'll be in
Yeah.
the show notes, guys. We'll put that in the description so that we can link you to it as well.
But thank you so much. You know, honestly, I've really wanted to kind of get that off my chest because I wanted to be honest and be straight and not be, what's Joe Rogan like? Great guy. What's this like? What's that like? And,
we wanted to know
he's
about
done-
you. Yeah.
Thank you. And this is the me that I prefer to live with. I have a better time with this version of me than I had with the other one, pretending to be something that I wasn't, as I'm not really anything other than, you know, bit of a crier, really.
Well, we've felt absolutely privileged that you felt comfortable enough to
absolutely.
do it here with us.
Thank you. Thank
Not
you.
really knowing us from a bar, so you know, being connected through the lineage of timeline therapy that we are and NLP. So yeah, it's been awesome.
And would love to have you back.
Thank you.
Would absolutely love to have you back.
Yeah, I'd love to be back. And you know, I get these two podcasts out the way. Well, put it one way, the manifestation that I've written, the list that I written to do this year, I written them last year just before Christmas. And these 10 things, and 9 of them are already in the process, so much so that they've been mentioned. So these are not accidents. So I've been working with the cosmic and the universe, and
we'd love to know more about that too, because we're big on all that. So we'd love to learn.
I'll tell you off there.
Okay.
Vinny, it's been an absolute pleasure. This is the podcast, Unplugged podcast number 44. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you.
Thank you, fellas.
Soon. Thank you.
Bless you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Frank. Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching the Unplugged podcast with Kallum and Conor from Connect Coaching. Hope you loved this guest this week as much as we did. Cal?
What we wanted to remind you of is that if you wanted to steal our forever business model, which is perfect for all sorts of businesses around the world to start to build extra revenue in your business right away, get instant access by clicking on the description and going into the link below, watching the 9-minute video where we unpack everything. See you next up.